Let's come to passage 1. If you ask me, passage 1 would not be my first passage because I would have chosen the AI passage to be my first one, right? This passage I would have probably placed at the second position because again, I like to read about economics. The language here is not very difficult and it seems like a doable RC passage looking at the language and the genre. So let's come to the first question. Okay. Which of the following statements about the positive effects of the state system is the author most likely to endorse, most likely to support? A. The state system constrained the ability of political and religious authorities to control new intellectual ideas. All right. The rivalries between the states lessened some of the worst possibilities of political authoritarianism. Now, I feel that I have read both of these options, both of these in the passage. See, due to the state system, European rulers found themselves competing for the best and most productive intellectuals and artisans. Again, I feel I've read this. D. Rivalries between the states induced some sense of honor and justice into most constitutions. I've read all of these in the RC passage. So let's see which one is the author going to support the most. Right. So if I go back to my RC passage, yes. Here, the author says, okay, so how did this work? Basically, the author is saying, how did this economic progress in Europe happen? So, it says that, in brief, Europe's political fragmentation spurred productive competition. It meant that European rulers found themselves competing for the best and most productive intellectuals and artisans. The economic historian Eric L. Jones called this the state system. So this is what has been called the state system. That European rulers, they were competing for the best intellectuals and artisans. All right. Coming to the next part. So here Gibbon says something, okay, about republics, about monarchies, and then the author gives his comment. In other words, the rivalries between the states and their examples to one another also ameliorated some of the worst possibilities of political authoritarianism. So even this is stated. Okay. Coming to the next slide, this says that if conservative rulers, see, yes, so the state system, more important, the sentence is also very important, more important, perhaps, the state system constrained the ability of political and religious authorities to control intellectual innovation. So while the author does talk about their controlling political authoritarianism also, the author says that more important, perhaps the author finds this more important. So I think between these two you can definitely reject this one as the less important option, right? And this part also, honor and justice is introduced into the most effective constitutions by the general manners of the times. This is Gibbon's statement with which the author is agreeing in the next paragraph. Still, the more important part remains this sentence. So if I go back to my options now, I think I can eliminate this, right? And rivalries between the states induce some sense of honor and justice. This is Gibbon's statement. This is something that is Gibbon's statement. Although the author does agree with it, in the very next paragraph, the author still finds this one as more important. So between A and C, this is what you would have narrowed down to. Now between A and C, here this has been said when the author says this is what the state system means. Okay, this is called the state system. That's what the author says. This is called the state system. But if you look at it, we want to convey the positive effect of the state system. So fine, in the state system there was competition, but what was the effect of the competition? The effect was that various states, various countries, they could not suppress intellectual ideas because of this competition. Because if they tried to do it, the intellectual would migrate to another state. So this part is the positive effect. This is what happened and this is the positive effect of what happened. And that's why A is our answer choice, not C.